where do you think UK is in terms of regulating basically the crypto world, stable coins, and tokenized assets, as you just mentioned? Do you think US is ahead of the UK, or where we are? I mean, if we compare these two countries.
Yes and no. So I guess let me explain. On stable coins, the US is ahead, and it's ahead in
Okay.
two ways. One, it actually has the Genius Act written into law, which legalizes third-party stable coins. Two, USD stablecoin adoption has gone through the roof. I mean, 99% of all stable coins, and they're doing 50 trillion in volume a year, are backed by USD or are USD denominated stablecoin. So both in terms of adoption and regulation, US is firmly ahead there. UK stablecoin regulation is coming out in final draft this summer and will come into force in 2027. But then we have a long way to catch up on adoption today, right? You have less than 1 million, I believe, £1 million of circulating US GBP-backed stablecoins. We got a long way to go. But actually, Coinbase just launched as a distributor our first listing of a GBP stablecoin last week called tokenized GBP or TGBP. So we're trying to do our part pushing this forward. We'll be listing more coins in the future and hopefully driving some utility there for users. But that's one where I'd say it's clear that the US is ahead. Now, on actually licensing and regulating crypto firms, I actually think it might be a different story. So the UK has a statutory instrument that's been written into law by Parliament. It is now in the final stages of being rolled out, and a gateway is opening for companies to apply in September of this year, and it will come into force in October of next year. So that sounds like a long timeline, but for regulation, that means we're like right at the finish line here. It's basically written and companies are getting ready. And I think the FCA has done the FCA being the UK regulator, has done a great job of thinking about how do we create the right ecosystem to grow crypto here. So while I think MiCA launched first, I do think the UK has the advantage here of being able to see what worked or didn't work in Europe and create their own legislation around it. And I think in the US, it's going to depend on can they get the Clarity Act across the line. Right now, Clarity Act is still being debated in the Senate and Congress. It hasn't been passed yet. We'll see what happens by the time this podcast comes out. It's a live situation, but I think that's really important. There's some nuance there in that I think SEC and others are going to start offering exemption letters to test certain use cases and move quickly. The UK prefers the sandbox approach, which is slow and steady. It takes a while to come to market. There's definitely some nuance there, but I think the UK is going after the space. And the reason it's so important for the UK, and I think regulators and policymakers have finally woken up to this, is the single biggest segment of the UK economy is financial services, most of it in London. It's like 8% of GDP. If you think that tokenization of capital markets is going to have effect on equities, FX, money movement, you need to have that happen in London. And so I think there's a recognition of we have to play catch up now to make sure that we have the right ecosystem to continue to grow financial services here in the UK.